The New Orleans Pelicans have been on everyone's radar this NBA season. The secret to their entertaining success has definitely been the absolute superstar Zion Williamson. That said, there's been something super fascinating about him ever since he missed a full season with a foot injury. Of course, we're talking about the fact that he's developed a special skill during this time. Let's take a look, shall we? First up, a little bit about Zion's playing style. In one short season, Williamson has developed into a super efficient post-up threat of high volume. You may be surprised by this development, but it sort of makes sense because he shoots from the outside. Williamson has had an interesting season. We've seen him attempt just 8 threes, and this is pretty strange for a player who is 6'6". This could be a massive problem if Williamson was a normal player, but he's not. He's a small giant with a game much bigger than his size. This makes him a fantastic post-up threat. He wouldn't be able to execute this threat if he didn't have plenty of skill too. Next up, how did Zion Williamson develop into a post-up threat? Zion's game is truly majestic. Not sure if you've noticed, but when on the left block, he can immediately attack with masterful spinning and driving baseline. This is so quick that there's pretty much no time for his cover to get to the rim or before help defense can arrive. It's a blink of an eye and he's already at the rim and scored. When he's on the right block, Williamson usually faces up after getting an entry pass. With his quick moves, he's easily able to attack the middle of the lane. We'd have to admit that he can take fair advantage of defenders that show even the slightest bit of slow reflexes or lateral movement. Let's talk about how the Pelicans can use Williamson's new skill. The Pelicans can use Williamson as their go-to option down low going forward. This can help them play a unique inside-out style, which will be difficult for teams to prepare for. He isn't the only one who can support the Pelicans though. You see, Jonas Valanciunas is another destructive player who can space the floor and give Zion all the room he needs to do his thing and finish. Hence, Williamson won't have to engage with any rim protector and he'll make the basket unchallenged. Lately, we've been able to see Valanciunas make some entry passes to Zion directly. This takes the opposing center completely out of the play. Not only this, but CJ McCollum, Brandon Ingram, and Herb Jones, all of them will make sure that Zion has enough space around him to do his own thing. What a team! On the other hand, is Williamson comparable to Tim Duncan? Let's be clear, it isn't like all of a sudden Zion is going to be the next Tim Duncan in the post, but he can use it pretty much exactly like Luka Doncic. You might remember the way Doncic used post-ups to isolate and make use of mismatches. He would sometimes use it just to get high percentage looks. In fact, pretty much leads the NBA in post-up possessions. He's averaged around 5.1 per game. Can you believe the man has scored 1.20 points per possession? That's crazy. Now, if we compare Williamson to Duncan, we can note that Williamson is averaging 4.8 post-ups and he scores around 1 point per possession. Sure, it's not exactly the same as Duncan's shockingly good scores, but it's still much better than Nikola Jokic, who averaged at 0.98, Anthony Davis, who averaged at 0.92, and even Giannis Antetokounmpo averaging at 0.72. In fact, he's right on par with the extraordinary Joel Embiid. This is an incredible group of players, and Williamson is now part of it. The athlete is officially among the league's favorite post players. Turning to the overall impact of Williamson's post-up plays. All in all, it's pretty clear that Zion Williamson's post-up plays are going to change the game for the New Orleans Pelicans. He can take advantage of his physical strength and physique to do the job he's meant to do as a finisher. We can definitely think of some areas of improvement as well. For example, he could work on improving his free throw skills. Even his three-point shooting percentage has some room for improvement. Working on these could be his next steps towards developing his offense. But at the same time, post-ups will be an excellent tool for pushing his opponent's defenses towards their doom. It's an incredible move and weapon to behold. The Pelicans sure are lucky. Moving on, Jose Alvarado is fueling energy boosts for Williamson. Jose Alvarado's leadership is fiery and it shows. Under his lead, Zion Williamson has shown off the charts levels of energy as Jose Alvarado made his 4th ever appearance in the Pelicans starting 5. This has come as a shock to very few. After all, we've known Alvarado had it in him as a leader. The New Orleans locker room has had nothing but praises for the man's leadership skills. The current head coach of Birmingham Squadron, JT Saint, has said that Alvarado is such an incredible coach that the moment he enters, he changes the temperature of the room. He coaches intentionally. Saint served as an assistant last season, and he gushed that Alvarado Alvarado can make every strategy on the offensive end highly difficult to execute. He keeps blowing up the rhythm and timing goes all over the place. He just plays fierce. It's a level above hard, Saint said. Up next, how much credit should Alvarado take for this season's success? Alvarado joining the starting line up in San Antonio was only one part of the crazy win for Williamson, but we still have to acknowledge that Jose deserves a lot more credit for the team's successful season than one would think at looking at his 6-foot frame. This is, after all, a game played by giants. If you look at what others are saying, Larry Nance Jr. said Alvarado was responsible for a handful of the Pelicans' wins, even against the Spurs. It was our boy Alvarado that scored the final dagger three-pointer, which helped the team secure their win tight and fast. Let's turn to the Pelicans' success this season. The game in San Antonio was full of urgency from top to bottom. New Orleans Pelicans were doing their best to push the pace, even though at one point in the second quarter, they had a 20-point lead. All 12 of the players made sure to make at least one successful shot. By the time the game ended, Williamson had made 11 successful straight field goals. The Pelicans finished with 14 to 33 three-pointers. If we were to look at Williamson's stats alone, he'd alone managed to score 32 points. 30 of these points were made before the final quarter. Honestly, what a beautiful game to watch, as he made a highlight for every quarter by finishing off a couple of plays. Williamson flexed his weight room work and really pushed Jeremy Sohan to his wits' ends. The team's chemistry has never been better though, as we could see from the mirror flexing early in the first quarter. Zion is something of a bully on the court because he teased Sohan a little more by gaining 2 extra points. At this point, his team had a 37-19 with nearly 10 minutes still left before halftime. The team absolutely dominated the court as both Zion and Jose flexed their might. One of our favorite moments in the match was the half-court alley-oop from Jose to Zion. Coming up next, what are the experts saying about Pelican stars? All the stats and tests are drawing the exact same conclusions. It seems Alvarado has definitely helped everyone on the team communicate with each other and control both ends of the court. Williamson has taken the advice of his critics and improved so much from his first 2 months of the season. It's pretty impressive. He even told the press that he has defensively started to feel his movements better. He could now enjoy the same a lot more as he was really able to see it. On the other hand, Green has been singing Alvarado's praises. His attitude is the most loved because it seems he works hard and lifts the whole team up with his smile and honesty. Even his trash talk before the game is exciting and motivating. He is super fun to be around, Green says. He was asked a couple of questions after the game and he had some interesting stuff to say. He felt that defensively they'd had the right mindset right from the start. They maintained it throughout the game even though it was pretty tough. He also felt like the basics were important when it came to winning. Keeping teams out of the paint, contesting shots, rebounding the ball, and communicating defensively is key for Green. Anyway, he was super proud of his teammates, as he should be. That's a wrap for this video, folks. Did you agree that a huge part of the Pelicans' strength is Jose's leadership? What do you think of Williamson's improvement on the court? Do leave a comment.
Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more awesome videos like this. See you in the next one with the latest updates.